Welcome to Perlman Quadrangle and Irvine Auditorium. Irvine Auditorium is a non-smoking facility. Restrooms are located on the lower and second balcony levels. Vending machines and payphones are located only on the lower level. Assisted listening devices are available upon request. Please take time to note the exit clearly marked at the front and rear of the auditorium. If for some reason there is an emergency, please use these exits to vacate the building in an orderly fashion. For your safety and the safety of others, after exiting, please move away from the building as far as possible. Please take the time now to silence all cell phones or beepers for thorough enjoyment of today's presentation by yourself and others.
Yeah.
That's great. I know. You should switch spots. Alright. I never take photos. It's not last year, so.
Don't worry. Don't be shy. I expect you to send them to me.
Huh?
You're going to send them to me, okay?
Send them
The good
to you?
ones, yeah.
Okay, I will. Oh, they're taking photos here. So I think they actually previous 2 years.
Yeah.
We got front row seats.
I said, this is America. You have to have fun and pageantry. I mean, the other thing that's very American is just the watching them. Yes.
It doesn't block forward once the students are in. Yeah.
That's a different time. That's a different time. So what did you think of that photograph? The entire footage
I can shoot. I should have been on the scene.
all the business tycoons of the U.S. Three politicians.
Yeah, you've got a billion. There you go. We really could make you up from the home.
And you've got Tesla, also architect of craziness, also.
Must be a pretty difficult ticket to get. Right? Yeah, they are.
Where is that building?
2 rooms
Back of the Imperial Palace?
still over in the basement.
Forbidden City.
I walked in one of the rooms and it was full of people.
Is that
It's right in front
No,
of you.
Myerson, yeah.
It's on the side. Yes.
Okay, here comes.
Tomorrow, leaving the packet. There he is. That's one. Takes pictures soon. We're gonna get this in the right order. It's always so funny after the fact.
People are supposed to be sitting in the front row. There's names on their seats. Oh yeah, Julian Abel originally, and it's been pretty well documented that he
problem is when you're speaking to them,
pretty sure.
the graduates
Because I think that was the part of the restoration. These were put in later for sound. I haven't. I just reversed. Did he kind of do good? She has two new books. One is the book, beautiful book photograph.
Me too.
And the other is the catalog from an exhibit in Balboa. It's very hard to, they brought me back one. But both of them are pretty fabulous. And I guess she's still working on another book. Hospital gown, very difficult. Once they're in place, to change them. Inga was saying we should have something that's a more sustainable company. And I said it's a little bit like a hospital gown.
Not like 3 years ago.
Well, it takes a good way just to get them all in here. I hope that guy that was running in when we were leaving. Found up. Oh, those, yeah, that's fine. But they're not the exact names or no standard. I could grab that. I have to give it to him and I can. That makes sense. Because we technically go to some of them fail. Haven't been. I know I was finishing a grade today. So once the grades are recorded,
I guess it's a party.
there's more companies and concepts and things. Yeah. But the official ones, they all. Sure. This group has been a very social group. They're, kind of the post-COVID people. They just love, interacting with people. Either they're students, undergraduates when there was COVID, or they're in high school. Oh, wow. So there's a refreshing spirit. Okay, here comes the doctoral sequel, so that's the last. Okay, it's showtime. Good evening. Welcome to our 2026 commencement ceremony. I'm Fritz Steiner, the Dean and Paley Professor at the Weitzman School of Design. You are all such a beautiful sight. I want to give a special welcome to friends and family members of our graduates. I know that many of you travel great distances to be here, and our graduates would not be here today without your support. So, thank you. Yeah. Tonight, we have students graduating from 35 states, including Ohio, and 36 countries. In fact, the Weitzman community has been an international community since the earliest days of our schools, and it continues to be one of our great strengths. For friends and family who cannot be here and are watching on YouTube, welcome those of you on YouTube. Now I'd just like to take a moment and ask you just to look around and enjoy this auditorium. Irvine was designed in 1929 by a Philadelphia architect by the name of Julian Abel. The first African American to graduate from Penn with an architecture degree in 1902, he was recruited by Horace Trumbauer, the firm behind many of the grand residents across the country, especially many of the most successful industrialists of the early 20th century. Julian Abel went on to design 600 buildings, among them some of the most inspiring buildings in our city, including the Free Library and the Philadelphia Museum of Art with the Trumbauer firm. Julian Abel was not the first architect to graduate from Penn. We've been educating architects since 1869, and the school has not stood still. In the decades since, we've added degree programs in fine arts, in landscape architecture, city and regional planning, preservation, and urban spatial analytics. Our newest program, a master's in property development and design, will welcome our first students later this summer. Our facilities have grown and evolved to match our curriculum. This year, we opened the first new building at the school in over 50 years. And a wonderful design team of distinguished alums and faculty were responsible for its design. Just down the block, Weitzman Hall is where you'll see the Master of Fine Arts thesis exhibition. As you can imagine, Penn student enrollment has grown dramatically since the university was founded, but one thing has not changed, and that's our mission. Today, as in 1740, we remain committed to doing good in the world. Here at the Weitzman School, our focus has been on both the built and natural worlds. Our mission is to advance the public good by improving places where we live and work through architecture, landscape architecture, city and regional planning, historic preservation, urban spatial analytics, and the fine arts. Now, I'm a three-time graduate of the Weitzman School. It was called the Graduate School of Fine Arts when I was a graduate, both the first and second and third time. And I've written often about my Penn mentor, Ian McCart. He was a Scottish-American ecological planner who was responsible for establishing the graduate landscape architecture program. He was particularly gifted in bringing together leading minds in the humanities, natural and social sciences, so he strengthened our school's interdisciplinary orientation. Like most of our faculty, he was a practitioner as well as an educator. And his work laid the foundation for the American environmental movement. In fact, his impact was much wider than that because he influenced a generation of planners, scholars, and activists
not just in the United States, but around the world. Now, Markarg's most important contribution to the fields of urban design and planning was a book called Design with Nature. And the book pioneered the simple but profound idea that we can build a better world by designing with rather than against natural systems. That is, we can use our organic intelligence. That's in contrast to artificial intelligence, which, yeah. I had to work our artificial intelligence in at least once, and I think the best way to do that is to use organic intelligence too. Okay. So Markarg's book was published in 1969, and that's the same year the United States sent astronauts to walk on the moon. The book's front cover features the city skyline in a silhouette with a white sphere behind it, suggesting a planet or the moon. And on the back cover was a photo, one of the first photos of Earth seen from space. With hundreds of satellites in orbits, images like that have now become somewhat normal. But last month, we watched on our phones and TVs as American and Canadian astronauts went back to the moon, capturing views of our solar system no human has ever seen before. The Artemis II mission took them around the far side of the moon, the farthest away from Earth any humans have ever traveled. And speaking with NASA ground control, just before they lost radio contact temporarily, astronaut Christina Couch said, when we burned toward the moon, I said that we did not leave Earth, but we chose it. And that is true. We will explore, we will build ships, and we will visit again. And ultimately, we will always choose Earth. We will always choose each other. Koch's message about our common humanity could not be more urgent today. For all of our differences, as strong as the urge to move apart or even escape to another planet may be, we are all one. Now, Julian Abel, Ian Markarg, they also built ships of a kind. They explored. In the realm of architecture, design, and planning, they took us to places where humans had not been before. They changed the way we thought about ourselves and our place in the world. You, too, are explorers. You have traveled to the island of Aruba, a tropical paradise that is increasingly vulnerable to climate change, to help the Prime Minister and government officials strengthen their tourist industry and coastal resilience. You have traveled to the tiny Japanese island of Inumina, where architecture and art are created in harmony with the natural landscape. You worked with Philadelphians in Strawberry Mansion to counteract years of disinvestment by celebrating the neighborhood's cultural history with new public spaces and partnerships. Back to our astronaut, Christina Koch. She traveled to the International Space Station where she set a record for the longest space flight. She completed the first all-female spacewalk. She excelled in some of the most high-risk and stressful conditions known to humanity. At a NASA press conference about the mission after the astronaut's successful homecoming, she was asked about her experience again, and she had this to say, quote, "A crew has the same cares and needs. A crew is inseparable, beautiful and dutifully linked. So when we saw tiny Earth, what struck me wasn't necessarily just Earth. It was all the blackness around us. Earth was just this lifeboat hanging undisturbed in the universe. I know I haven't learned everything that is about this journey that this journey has yet to teach me, but there's one new thing I know, and that is, planet Earth, you are a crew." There's so much wisdom in Koch's observation. To the class of 2026, I say this: you too are a crew. Look around the room and at the people that have made your time at Penn special. Friends, mentors, studio partners, studio neighbors, those of us on stage. You've depended on each other, you've cheered each other on, you've looked out for each other, you've pushed each other to go further. I'm confident that these connections carry on long after you walk across the stage today. To the class of 2026, you are a crew. Since we've been talking about people who inspire us, we turn now to our annual teaching awards at the Weitzman School. Each year at this time, we recognize 3 individuals of our faculty with the G. Holmes Perkins Distinguished Teaching Award, named in honor of the architect and longtime faculty member who served as our dean from 1951 to 1971. These awards are based on nominations by the students to recognize distinguished teaching and innovation in the classroom or seminar or studio. The 2026 Faculty Award winners are Scott Aker, a lecturer in architecture, Summer Dong, assistant professor of city and regional planning, and Che O'Neill, lecturer in city and regional planning. I'd ask all 3 of them to stand. There you are. Thank you, Scott, Summer, and Shay, for your many contributions to our schools, and congratulations. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. As the architecture critic at the Philadelphia Inquirer, Inga Saffron has been a forceful advocate for meaningful design, accessible public spaces, affordable housing, and historic preservation. Her work has been recognized with numerous awards, including the Pulitzer Prize for Criticism, a Guggenheim Fellowship, the Vincent Scully Prize, and a Loeb Fellowship. In 2020, Rutgers University Press published a selection of her columns for the Inquirer under the title, Becoming Philadelphia, How an Old American City Made Itself New Again. Inga began her career as a municipal reporter and spent the 1990s as a foreign correspondent. In addition to her writing about architecture and urbanism, she is an expert on the cultural heritage of the sturgeon. Her book, Caviar, The Strange History and Uncertain Future of the World's Most Coveted Delicacy, appeared in 2003. It got rave reviews, and now she's working on a history of the American newspaper building. It's my pleasure to introduce Inga Saffron.
Thank you, Dean Steiner, and thank you to the Weitzman faculty. It's wonderful to be here with the class of 2026 and your families for this moment of transition and celebration. Congratulations on all you've accomplished. If you had suggested to me at the end of my own rather unremarkable college years that I would be giving a graduation speech at this esteemed design school, I would simply not been able to fathom it. For one thing, I didn't discover my life's work until I was 40. And that's not meant to scare you, by the way. I worked as a newspaper journalist for more than 15 years before I was able to convince the Philadelphia Inquirer to let me write about architecture and urbanism. I put in many, many years as a municipal reporter in New Jersey, attending every sort of town meeting you can imagine, the Planning Commission, the Sewer Authority. And then I got to go overseas. I spent most of the 90s as a foreign correspondent in the former Yugoslavia and Russia, where I covered not one, but two brutal wars that left several beautiful cities in ruins. I always loved cities and their concentrated mix of people, so it was very painful for me to witness the senseless destruction of places like Sarajevo, Banja Luka, and Grozny. As I watched those wars unfold, I couldn't help seeing the similarities in the way America treated its cities. We never bombed our cities, of course, but it's no accident that it was once common to describe our urban neighborhoods as, quote, bombed out. We did terrible things to American cities in the second half of the 20th century. Many of the physical changes that were made in the name of progress turned out to be just as destructive as those wars. We built interstate highways that clear-cut entire neighborhoods and cut off access to lush waterfronts. We allowed enormous surface parking lots to replace fine historic buildings. We segregated Black, brown, and Asian communities and forced people to live in deteriorated housing while encouraging white residents to abandon cities and then pave over vast tracts of natural land. I could go on and on about these terrible policies. I suspect it's hard for many of the graduates here to visualize what Philadelphia was like in the 80s and 90s. In 1991, Philadelphia was on the verge of bankruptcy. Its finances were so precarious that its trash trucks would sometimes run out of fuel in mid-run. 1991 was also the year that a 38-story office tower right across the street from City Hall was destroyed in what was then the worst high-rise fire in history. 3 firefighters died. I left Philadelphia a few months after that tragedy to start working as a foreign correspondent in Europe. I was gone for 8 years. When I returned in 1999, I was shocked to discover that the blackened shell of that office tower was still standing. Still glowering at a soot-stained City Hall, still a daily reminder of the inertia and decay that gripped the city. It was a strange time to be starting a career writing about architecture in Philadelphia. The city wasn't erecting many new buildings. It wasn't even capable of removing its ruins. Many of my counterparts at other publications were jetting around the world for the openings of the latest glamour buildings. Frank Gehry's Guggenheim Bilbao had opened in 1997, setting off what was called the Bilbao effect. Every ambitious city in the world wanted their own version. But I couldn't see myself writing about those faraway trophy buildings, not when Philadelphia was in crisis. Like the leaders of other American cities, Philadelphia officials had come to believe that the only way out of its predicament was to make the city more like the suburbs. Convinced that visitors would never use transit, they encouraged developers to build new parking garages in the densest part of Center City. They championed sterile, make-believe, climate-controlled version of the city, where sky bridges link garages to hotels and hotels to the convention center, all in the belief that tourism and hospitality would help replace the city's lost industrial jobs. Since there were no Starchitect design museums to review, I found myself critiquing those parking garages. I reviewed plans for a windowless shopping mall on the Penn's Landing waterfront. I railed against the demolition of 19th century buildings. And whenever I could, I advocated for density and good transit service over highway projects. I devoted so many columns to the negative consequences of automobile-related infrastructure that policymakers and developers began to refer to me derisively as the Inquirer's parking critic. They claimed that garages and parking lots were not a fit subject for an architecture critic. They called me a crank. I admit their criticism sometimes made me doubt what I was doing. I thought about the architectural historian Nicholas Pevsner, who famously wrote, quote, "A bicycle shed is a building. Lincoln Cathedral is a piece of architecture." Did it really make sense for someone with the title architecture critic to be straying so far from high design projects? Was I being a Luddite when I urged 21st century Americans to reconsider the dominance of the automobile? Even among some urban planners and architects back then, my views were not fully embraced. But I continued to criticize the city's autocentric policies because I believed my position on these issues was the right one. And then something unexpected happened. A new, younger generation began to embrace cities. Philadelphia started to rebuild, and its population began to grow again. The people who moved here were attracted by Philadelphia's walkable streets, its gritty but authentic layers of architecture. They rode bicycles, and they moved to Fishtown so they could take the L to work in Center City. And over time, my crank views started to become mainstream. And today, I proudly call myself a crank, and I urge you to be one too. You've spent the last few years in Meyerson Hall single-mindedly focused on how to use design to create a better world. You've been encouraged to think about the role buildings and landscapes can play in combating climate change. You worked in an academic environment where the unbiased, independent search for truth is normal and valued. Your professors have urged you to be creative and innovative, generous and inclusive. They've supported you in your quest for new forms of expression. Sadly, tragically, you are graduating at a time when government officials, big corporations, and billionaires are openly hostile to those values. When the American president and his party are denying the existence of climate change and are actively pursuing policies that would accelerate environmental catastrophe. This White House seems to think the most important issue facing architecture is whether to use Corinthian or Doric columns and how much gold to gild them with. We in this room know the real challenge is figuring out how to reduce our carbon footprint. The current administration rejects rigorous scientific inquiry, and they base their policy decisions on vibes. They want to sanitize history and take us back to the architectural and social hierarchies of the 19th century. So how do you stay true to your values in these reactionary times? How do you avoid being sucked into the maelstrom of cynicism and opportunism? Be a crank. Be a crank. You can't solve all the problems facing the world right now, but by mindfully sticking to your beliefs in your professional life, you can be part of the resistance. When you find a job in your profession, and I hope that happens soon, you will be assigned tasks that require you to make many small, discrete decisions. You can use those decisions to advance your values. Every time you spec a glulam beam instead of steel, you are resisting. Every time you design a park that also manages rainwater, or preserve a site that figured in the Underground Railroad, or create a painting that opens our eyes to things we never saw before, you are resisting. I have a weakness for fashion, and I love the work of the Belgian designer Dries van Noten. He recently retired to start a foundation, and his motto is, "The only true protest is beauty." Okay, so that's maybe not the only one, but I too believe beauty is protest, and beauty comes in many forms. You might be asking yourself now, will designing a bike lane really save the world? No, not on its own. But last year was the 20th anniversary of the day when a group of rebellious architects took over a single parking space on a street in downtown San Francisco and installed a DIY park. That guerrilla action is now an annual event called Parking Day, and it's celebrated in 200 cities. This little demonstration launched a movement to create pocket parks all over the world. It changed the conversation. There's a long tradition of cranks moving your professions forward. Cranks have changed history. You know who was a crank? Louis Kahn. Edmund Bacon thought Kahn was an impractical dreamer and was outraged by his proposal to limit cars in Center City. If you've seen the movie My Architect, I'm sure you'll never forget the scene where Bacon blows up over the suggestion that Kahn was right. Today, we consider Kahn one of the greatest, most soulful, most influential architects of the 20th century. We make pilgrimages to see his Salk Institute, Bangladeshi Parliament, and of course the Richard Labs right here on the Penn campus. Jane Jacobs was the mother of all cranks. During a fight over whether to run a highway through New York's Washington Square Park, the powerful urban planner Robert Moses famously dismissed her as a, quote, housewife. No one walks through Washington Square today and says, I wish they put a highway here. You know who else was a crank? Michael Cord, who founded the Avenging the Ancestors Coalition in Philadelphia. When the remains of a forgotten slave quarters were discovered at George Washington's first presidential home, right next to the Liberty Bell Pavilion, Cord fought to have that site preserved over the objections of the National Park Service. The President's House Memorial became the first and only federal site acknowledging the memory of real people who were enslaved. And when the White House recently tried to water down the interpretive panels there, thousands of people came out and demanded a true telling of history. We don't know how that story will end, since the challenge is working its way through the courts. The thing you should know about being a crank is that cranks lose a lot of battles. I can't tell you how many historic buildings I've championed that have ended up being unceremoniously demolished. You will lose a lot of battles too, but you can still win the war. You'll take 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards, but that still leaves you 1 step ahead. You know who were the biggest cranks of all? The people in Philadelphia who fought to create America's democratic system of government. They believed that ordinary people, not monarchs, not wealthy individuals, should be in charge. It has been a bumpy road to this year's 250th anniversary. But to quote from Conan O'Brien's very good recent Oscar monologue, let us celebrate, not because we think all is well, but because we work and hope for better. You are graduating in a city of cranks. You are part of that proud tradition, and I cannot wait to see what the cranks among you accomplish. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Crank Inga. It's now my pleasure to introduce the class of 2026 student speaker, nominated and chosen by her classmates. Fanessa de la Rosa is a candidate for the Master of City Planning degree and a proud veteran of the Cleveland studio.
Okay. Thank you, Dean Fritz. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Class of 2026, we made it, y'all. How does it feel? So, in the past few weeks, I've been asked over and over about my plans after graduation. And my answer to that has been, I don't know yet. To which my therapist usually follows up by asking, how do I feel about not knowing what's next? And honestly, I feel really good in the unknown. Let me explain. May has become an annual month of reflection for me since one of my grandmothers, Mama, passed away around this time about 3 years ago. And I didn't know at that time what life would look like without her. But ever since I said my goodbyes to Mama, I have felt that every chapter has a purpose, even if it is currently unknown. And that every challenge has pushed me to recognize that I have the tools to bring my vision to reality because I can build with and learn from others. My time here at the School of Design has been the epitome of this mantra. And when I committed to grad school, I took a leap of faith into the unknown, as I imagine all of y'all might have felt like that too. But my vision was greater than all of my fears. Graduate school is a choice to invest in yourself. And I struggled with that initially. It was hard to prioritize myself. I felt like I was abandoning a lot of my familiar responsibilities, like being a free babysitter for my nephews, or returning monthly to New York City for family gatherings, and keeping up with my friendships. I was overwhelmed the first semester. And on top of all of that, all my worst habits came out, like sleeping for 3 hours a night and chugging coffee at 10 p.m., which I do not recommend, making me question whether I was even capable of doing this. And while I would have sulked and convinced myself that I was alone, my peers wouldn't have it. I formed supportive friendships with the funniest, wittiest, and most sarcastic people. We spent many late nights working in random conference rooms, windowless classrooms, studio spaces, on FaceTime co-working calls, and searching for free food after every event. And even if my muscle memory wanted to convince me that I was alone, my community wouldn't let me. Y'all, my peers have taught me a lot. I learned through them that one, we have grit. You know, the kind that you need to clean those microwaves in the studios? Yeah, that kind of grit. Two, while self-care feels luxurious, it is necessary. And we cannot be good designers or professionals without taking care of our basic needs, even if that means decentering school sometimes. Three, that we've all been there. We've all had our fair share of creative blocks, existentialism, despair, joy, victory, and relief. And four, that we are only one part of the puzzle. Professors, you're also part of this puzzle. Recently, I got to experience Weitzman at a conference in Chicago where one moment stood out to me the most. A student from another university had observed Vincent, Reina, and I bantering a little bit. We're New Yorkers, so it's kind of natural for us. The student then expressed disbelief that I was able to chat casually with my professors, outside of office hours, in the real world. You know, at that time, it didn't occur to me that other students at other programs might not have these kinds of relationships. And to me, fostering these kinds of relationships with professors has been pivotal to creating community here at Weitzman. Because what is community if not supportive? There were so many times where my professors reminded me that my work, my vision, required me to show up fully, whether it be talking through a moment of personal crisis with Dominic or Jamal, or having creative freedom on projects, which, yes, I will admit, sometimes took a lot longer than they should have. Jeannie, thank you for your patience. Their pedagogy demanded that we sit with our current realities and systems and ask, what role do I play in this? Our training has given us the tools to be practitioners who know that social challenges do not live in isolation. And with that knowledge, we are challenged to envision, design, and create with and for communities. So I cannot say that I'm graduating Weitzman with any more certainty for the future, as I'm sure many of you may also feel, but I am graduating here with the tools to better face challenges head on. And more importantly, I'm leaving here with all of you, a community that we created together. We worked hard and decompressed together, especially on Fridays at 6 p.m. for happy hours. where no matter how much food I ordered, it was always gone within the first 20 minutes. We cannot bring our vision of change for ourselves or for the world to reality alone. You all give me hope that as challenging and unknown as the future may be, my fellow Weitzman alums will also be chipping away at creating something better. Community helps us face the unknown, and it is greater than just our class of 2026, so I'd be remiss if I did not give a sincere thank you to the School of Design's faculty and staff, to the facilities team, to the board of advisors, and our families and friends, including my own, who all contributed to carrying us through. I would especially like to thank the City Planning Department's faculty and staff for being our cohort's biggest cheerleaders. So yeah, okay, to bring it back. I am thrilled to step into the unknown again. And despite Mama not being here, I trust that you can see how lucky I am to have gained such a community, to be part of this amazing puzzle. And so as we cross this stage in a few moments, I urge you all to brave the unknown, to trust that the tools that you've developed, the community that you have grown, and remember to show up whole. Our work needs it, and the world needs our work. Thank you.
Thanks, Fanessa. Please join me now in welcoming Matt Nord, a graduate of the Wharton School and the chair of the Weitzman Board of Advisors.
Thank you. That's going to be a tough act to follow. So, good evening, Dean Steiner, faculty, family, friends, and most importantly, the class of 2026. On behalf of the Board of Advisors, congratulations. It's an absolute honor to be here and share this occasion with you. This is a big moment in your lives. You have worked hard to earn a degree from this world-class institution. But it's not just the degree that you should celebrate. It's also the perspective that comes with it. Because what you have developed here is not just technical skill. It's a way of seeing the world, a way of asking better questions, and a way of shaping what comes next. This is important because the world you're stepping into has its challenges and needs thoughtful solutions. This is your opportunity. Take what you have learned and apply it. Aspire to make an impact. Under Dean Steiner's leadership, the Weitzman School developed a new strategic framework. It's called Making Space for the Public Good. And it sets forth a series of values and goals that shape the Weitzman education and the aspirations of our students. There are 4 cornerstones of the strategic framework: designing healthier cities, promoting interdisciplinary innovation, advancing climate solutions, and encouraging cultural exchange. What I like about this framing of the school's mission is that it's active. Making space means you don't wait for permission, you create it. And public good forces you to ask the question of who benefits. Those 2 ideas, agency and responsibility, sit at the core of what you've been trained to do. Hold on to these principles and think about how they will shape your careers. Designing healthier cities is not simply about physical space. It is also about systems and shaping how people live together, how they move and connect and belong. At Weitzman, you have been taught to see design as a tool for public good, something capable of improving lives at the scale of both the individual and the city itself. Interdisciplinary innovation is required because the most important problems today don't respect boundaries. They sit at the intersection of architecture and policy, between engineering and culture, between data and design. Your advantage is the ability to connect dots that others don't see. which has always been the hallmark of a Penn education. Continue to lean into that. Advancing climate solutions are about resilience and long-term thinking. Your generation will create environments that use energy more intelligently and better balance growth with sustainability. These topics are as much about policy as they are design. Use what you've learned to add your perspective and be part of the discussion. And encouraging cultural exchange recognizes that design doesn't happen in isolation. It incorporates location and history. And the best work doesn't impose, it listens, interprets, and elevates. At Weitzman, you have been part of a community which values exchange across disciplines and backgrounds. I hope you continue to approach the world with the same spirit of intellectual curiosity and humility. Taken together, these aren't just themes or pillars of a strategic plan. They are a clear mandate, and they come at an interesting time. We're approaching the 250th anniversary of the United States, and obviously Philadelphia has played a central role in this country's history. And the Weitzman School, in its own way, has been part of this history through the ideas exchanged inside and outside the classroom. I am someone who likes to find the deeper meaning in things. Milestone anniversaries have a way of making us pause. They remind us that history is not just a collection of dates and monuments. It is a long chain of people who believed that they could leave things better than the way they found them. And as our country approaches its 250th anniversary, and as we gather here in a city so central to that story, it feels fitting that Weitzman continues asking the same essential question. How do we create spaces, communities, and institutions that serve something larger than ourselves? Always remember to keep this with you, keep asking yourself that question, and let it guide your decision making. As you graduate, I have a few other thoughts for you to keep in mind. Be intentional about what you choose to work on. Not every opportunity is equal, and some matter more than others. Stay curious, but also decisive. The world doesn't just need ideas, it needs execution. Surround yourself with people who challenge you. The best outcomes rarely come from a single point of view. And stay engaged with Penn. This weekend has added significance for me. I'm celebrating my 25th reunion. I thought I was 20, but it's actually getting up there. I'm 25. Penn has shaped the course of my life, and I will always be thankful for what I've learned here and the opportunities created for me. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way. Stay connected and remain engaged with Penn. Continue to be part of this community of learning and mentorship. And so I want to close by reiterating how proud we are of you and how excited we are to see what you do next. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Now, we're getting to the part about you. As we turn to the presentation of degrees and our first group of graduates, I have a favor to ask friends and family here today. Please don't stand in the aisles to take pictures. We want to make sure graduates can safely make their way to the stage to be recognized, and we need everyone to stay seated. We have a photographer who's dedicated to getting close-up images of the action, and we will share those photos on Flickr. It's now my pleasure to present the dual degrees candidates who exemplifies our school's commitment to interdisciplinary studies.
Noah Maury Mackover. Master of Fine Arts, Master of Landscape Architecture. Ruby Webube. Master of Architecture and a Master of Science in Historic Preservation. Annie Parker. Master of City Planning, Master of Landscape Architecture, and a recipient of the Faculty Medal in Regional Planning. Ravina Puri, Master of Architecture, Master of Landscape Architecture. Chloe Anna Richards, Master of Architecture, Master of City Planning. Zijie Wang, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Science Historic Preservation, and the recipient of the Ian L. McHarg Prize. Xuan Wu, Master of City Planning, Master of Landscape Architecture. Jun E. Yang, Master of City Planning, Master of Landscape Architecture, and recipient of the Laurie D. Olin Prize in Landscape Architecture.
In front of the podium. It always takes at least one group to get that clear. So now to present the candidates for the Master of Fine Arts is Professor and Chair of Fine Arts, Sharon Hayes.
Hello, everyone. Hello, MFA graduates. Thank you, Dean Steiner. Moroccan-born and Berlin-based curator Alia Sebti proposes that we cultivate a conscious practice of humanity. Now more than ever, she writes, it is crucial to reclaim a way of belonging in the world and committing to this belonging every single day, a practice of listening, of embracing, of remembering the ones who came before us and acting for the ones who come after us. The work of the 8 artists graduating today with a Master's of Fine Arts degree offers new methodologies, new knowledge, new aesthetic and artistic forms, but equally important, they lead us by example into a ferocious and urgent practice of humanity. I don't think that any of us could have imagined the political, economic, and technological pressures that we've experienced on campus, in the city, around the country, and across the globe in the time that you all, and you all sitting in front of me, have been studying. For the 8 of you, this shifting ground included the shifting of the very spaces in which you worked individually and collectively. This year's class began when the MFA program moved out of our main studio building, and then they led us back in October into a newly renovated Weitzman Hall. They have been helping us create a renewed sense of belonging in that, our academic home. In the midst of these conditions, the 8 graduates each have made a vital commitment to claim time, to re-examine assumptions, to take risks, to care for each other, and to critically engage in and through their work with the world around us. They made singular commitments, but they worked together in the studio and in the classroom, in other spaces and relationships, to organize a cake fund to celebrate everybody's birthday, staff, faculty, and students, and some in solidarity as fellow graduate workers and union members, successfully negotiating a historic collective bargaining agreement with the university. The teaching and the learning of art is about what is possible, not what is probable. There is no predictable, inevitable trajectory to any given work of art, and there are no guaranteed set of conditions in which we make. Becoming an artist, developing a practice, establishing a career demands a willingness to contemplate and be in dialogue with what is happening in the studio and with your work, but also in the worlds in which we move, with the challenges that surround us, and in the communities in which we find belonging. Thank you, MFA graduates, for your commitment and for your inspiration, and congratulations on this sustained accomplishment.
Presenting our candidates for the Master of Fine Arts. Ana Gonzalez. Dylan Lee, recipient of the Halpern Rogath Independent Travel Award, as well as the Lawrence Sprint MFA Award second year. Sol Kim. Jin Yi Ling, also a certificate in landscape studies. Shay Meyerson, recipient of the Christopher Leland Lyon Memorial Fund Award. Casey Rosario Jackson, recipient of the Charles Adams Memorial Prize. Ambika Trussi, Chair's Discretionary Award recipient.
Thank you, Sharon. Congrats to the MFA graduates. To present the candidates for the Master of Science in Historic Preservation and the Master of Science in Design with a concentration in historic preservation, here is Randy Mason, Professor and Chair of Historic Preservation.
Thank you, Fritz. Thank you, colleagues, and thank you for families and graduates. On behalf of the faculty of the Department of Historic Preservation, I'm delighted to present the class of 2026, getting both the Master of Science in Historic Preservation and the MSD degrees. Every day on the front page, we realize more and more reasons, the urgency of how we as citizens and as residents of cities and towns across the country need history, need memory, and reckon with inheritance in fulfilling our needs, our daily needs, and our society's daily needs. It couldn't be more fraught, whether you think about it in this 250th anniversary year or in any other part of the world, in any other moment. We contest heritage, and we need people who are preservationists to help us reckon as a society with those urgent issues. So I'm delighted and also somewhat relieved that we have this future generation of preservation graduates out there to help us reckon with the past. This class, I'll say briefly, is really remarkable for their resilience, remarkable for their creativity, remarkable for the care that they've shown for each other, for the work that they do for the communities with whom they've worked. I would also say they're remarkable, making it up a little bit, for their crankiness. I think that they definitely have the stuff of crankiness to answer Inga Saffron's call. So to each of you individually, but at the same time, let me just say that I'm grateful, I'm awed, and I'm optimistic about what you'll do next. And again, from my colleagues, bring heartfelt congratulations to you and to your families, all of the families who have gotten you here and will carry you to the next place. So be well, do good work, and don't forget to write.
Presenting our candidates for the Master of Science in Historic Preservation. Amanda Barnett, also the recipient of the Robin M. Beckett Fund. Fatima Casares Arar, recipient of the Anthony Nicholas Brady Garvin Award for an outstanding thesis, as well as the Faculty Award for Outstanding Academic Achievement. Shunzu Chen, recipient of the Albert Binder Travel Fellowship, the Robin M. Beckett Fund, the Charles E. Peterson Award, and the Faculty Award for Outstanding Academic Achievement. Chen Yu Chi. Caroline Griffiths, recipient of the Dawn and Brian Gonick Architectural Conservation Professional Development Fund. Jean Yu Ming. Ikra Khalid, recipient of the Dawn and Brian Gonick Architectural Conservation Professional Development Fund, as well as the Elizabeth Green Wiley Award for Outstanding Promise. Louis Quilon. Camilla Celian Meeker, recipient of the Elizabeth Green Wiley Award for Outstanding Promise. Isosa Osayamwen, recipient of the Faculty Award for Outstanding Academic Achievement. Claire Puckhaber, recipient of the Charles E. Peterson Award. Grace Alexandra Ragosa. Eleanor Schnarr. Junshi Soon. Jian Wei, recipient of the Aaron Wunsch Award for Public History of the Built Environment. Shufan Xiao. Yang Kaiyu. Zhou Chuan. Michael Thron, recipient of the Anthony Nicholas Brady Garvin Award for an Outstanding Capstone. Yuen Yi Ren.
Thank you, Randy, and congratulations to our historic preservation / crank graduates. Presenting the candidates for the Master of Landscape Architecture is Catherine Sievett, Meyerson Professor and Chair of the Department of Landscape Architecture.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Catherine Sievett, Chair of the Department of Landscape Architecture. Let me be the next to offer my congratulations, not only to our magnificent Master of Landscape Architecture graduates, class of 2026, but all of you here tonight. It's truly a joy to be here, and with so many of your family members and loved ones who've supported you along this journey, as we celebrate this extraordinary accomplishment in your lives. Make it new. Tonight, I ask you to take this modernist directive with you. It's a phrase attributed to the poet Ezra Pound and the title of his 1934 collection of literary essays. Yet this phrase was in fact borrowed by Pound from the Chinese emperor Chen Tang of the Shang Dynasty, well over 3,000 years ago. It's a translation of a Confucius text. And this phrase was inscribed on the emperor's stone wash basin. Make it new every day when you wake up and wash your face. Class of 2026, we have been making it new together. For our MLA 3-year students, you and I arrived at Penn together on a Wednesday morning in the fall of 2023, meeting in an Annenberg lecture hall, a room sometimes always too hot or too cold, where we read images and texts, thinking about this discipline we call landscape architecture through the lens of Jefferson's Mastodon and Olmsted's Cotton Kingdom. We rode in Geronimo's Cadillac and mused over unexpected places across the Delaware River Basin, from the inland Kinsissing, the place of large shells, to the inventive palm tree perched along the river's shoreline in Thomas Holmes' portraiture of the city of Philadelphia. For our MLA two-year students, you joined this group on an unprecedented series of bus rides to Staten Island, trusting, maybe, that this forgotten borough of New York City and its islanded plant and mineral life was a place that could spark our collective design imaginations. We posited that weeds might indeed be plants whose virtues have not yet been discovered, as Ralph Waldo Emerson asserted, and pretty much ended up agreeing with George Curtis that God might have made a more beautiful and weirder place than Staten Island, but never did. We were making it new. Along your journey, you kept on thinking, talking, reflecting on your work, on this place and time, on this program, on the promise of education as liberatory, and on our radical charge to advance into our collective future, which is in fact now. You've been active, engaged, constructive. You insist on making it new, charting a course forward, headstrong, into the vanguard of our landscape discipline. It's worth noting your collective engagement with rivers across our many advanced studios this year: Monterey's Rio Santa Catarina, the Hudson River, Atlanta's Chattahoochee River, and not least, our Delaware River, flowing from Fort Mifflin to Newcastle and out to sea. What better way to acknowledge your transformation and growth? Remember Heraclitus's fragment, Panta Rei, everything flows. You cannot step into the same river twice. It is new, and you make it new. Dear Master of Landscape Architecture graduates, think like that river. Land and water connect all beings, human and more than human, as well as generations past, present, and future. We, the faculty, entrust you, our graduates, to actively shape the earth, to create and repair places and publics, and to make it new every day. We are so proud of your many accomplishments here at Weitzman, and we look forward to your work to come. Go forth and dare mighty things, mighty MLA class of 2026.
Presenting our candidates for the Master of Landscape Architecture: Rachel Aronson. Shuliang Ban. Brenton Kai, Certificate in Urban Design and recipient of the Faculty Acknowledgement Award for Design Progress. Adrian Casas, recipient of the Eleanor T. Weidenmeyer Prize in Landscape and Urbanism. Hannah Cho, recipient of a Certificate in Urban Design. Yufei Fan, Chesney Floyd, recipient of the Faculty Acknowledgement Award for Experimentation and Innovation. Maeve Fogarty, recipient of the Narendra Juneja Medal. Han Ching Gao, Xiao Yu Guo, Thomas Hellman, Madison Howard, Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development, and recipient of the Faculty Acknowledgement Award for Design Progress. Yuan-Chi Hu, Hao Yuan Huai, So Yoon John, Zijiao Robin Jia, Certificate in Time-Based and Interactive Media. Xiaodong Jin, Certificate in Ecological Planning. Andrew Kennedy, recipient of the Faculty Acknowledgement Award for Service, as well as the Faculty Medal in Landscape Architecture. Sohyun Kim, Lydia Huitong Lee, Qian Li, Zhenxi Li, Qinghao Lin, Bao Ying Liu, Chen Yang Liu, Cleo Sophia Louise McCrackis, recipient of the Faculty Acknowledgement Award for Service, as well as the Robert M. Hanna Prize in Design. Dorian Madden, Harissa Martinos, Certificate in Urban Resilience. Shreya Mehta, recipient of the Faculty Acknowledgement Award for Service. Nathaniel Ramsey, Purit Pum Shiranangsu, Megan Singleton, Benjamin Stahl, Wei Ting Su, Darren Tyndall, Laura Van Canet, Certificate in Urban Resilience and recipient of the Faculty Acknowledgement Award for Service. Gabriel Weber, recipient of the John Dixon Hunt Prize in History, Theory, and Criticism. Zihan Wei, Yihong Xu, recipient of a Certificate in Urban Design. Bin Yu Yang, Yi Fei Yuan, Lillian Zhang, recipient of a Certificate in Integrated Product Design. Ji-Chu Zhang, Faculty Acknowledgement Award for Experimentation and Innovation. Si-Yu Zhang, Yunzhe Zhang, Ya Lei Ju, Certificate in Time-Based and Interactive Media.
Thank you, Catherine. Congratulations to the MLA graduates. Presenting the candidates for the Master of City Planning degree is Megan Ryerson, Professor and Chair of City and Regional Planning and UPS Foundation Chair of Transportation.
Oh, good evening, everyone. And may I present the class of 2026 graduates of the Department of City and Regional Planning at the Weitzman School of Design at the University of Pennsylvania. Class of 2026, you spent the past years immersed in a vibrant, demanding, and inspiring community, training in housing, community, and economic development, sustainable transportation and infrastructure, urban design, environment and land use planning, public-private development, and smart cities. But across all the paths you chose as a city and regional planner, there's one thing that unites you all, 2026 graduates. You are the delightful cranks, the thoughtful resistors, and the radical optimists. You saw the pressing, interwoven challenges of our time, climate change, spatial inequality, housing shortage, and you thought, I want to dedicate my life's work to doing something about this. And you did. You came here. And 2026, I can't help thinking about how we started this journey together. Your first day was my first day as chair. And on our collective first day, I remember a lot of you asking me, how can I be the most successful in graduate school? And we talked about how graduate school is an opportunity to learn as much as you can, not just in your own concentration, but outside. It's an opportunity to create community and networks that will become your networks for the rest of your careers. And to engage in Philadelphia, to truly engage in the place in which you're studying and living. And 2026, you did that and then some. You dabbled in housing and urban spatial analytics. You founded RAICES and the Student Planning Association. We all quickly realized that Kate knows everything and that if we didn't lean on people, we weren't going to get through this process altogether. You interned for the city, even in government's hardest days. And now, as you get ready to leave Penn and leave Weitzman, I hope you hold on to all these lessons that you've learned and built here, that in your future careers, you're always looking to learn as much as possible, to be the most effective planner you can be, that you're always looking to create communities and networks, not just for you, but for all of those around you. And that you engage deeply wherever you're living, wherever you're working, wherever you're making an impact. You came here to build futures, your future and our collective future, and I can't wait to see what you do. Congratulations to the class of 2026.
Annalise Abraham. It's Natani Humaira Anakami. Caroline Anderson. Layla Bagenstas. Alexander Tyrell Barnes, recipient of the Anne Louise Strong Leadership Award. Nina Carlson. Jin Hung Tun, Certificate in Integrated Product Design. Mei Shi Chai. Hao Long Chen. Yao Chen. Ru Jie Cheng. Certificate in Geographical Information Systems and Spatial Analysis, as well as recipient of the Bruce J. Hansen Award. Lauren En-hee Choi. Liz Kraus. Witty Sakamoto Honorable Mention. Fanessa de la Rosa, recipient of the Paul Davidoff Award. Darcy Elliott. Jason Fan. Yanru Fong. Anoushka Goyal, recipient of the Witty Sakamoto Prize. Joshua Grossman. Si Miao Guo. Ebony Sine Hawkins. Neil Jean-Baptiste. Eliana Jareje. Jake Kirschner. Xiaomei Kong. Dennis Y. Law. Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development and recipient of the Brian C. West Award. Hope Levin. Recipient of the Bruce J. Hansen Award. Ziyue Li. Zhonghua Li. Cal Looning, recipient of the Gaia Award. Cindy Liu, recipient of a Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development, as well as the David Crane Award. Dipti Manali, Certificate in Urban Resilience. Tyler Maynard. Ling Ye Moon. Ethan Miller. J.P. Nash. Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development. Owen Noble. Ondriza Reza Nodi, recipient of the Smart Cities Award. Yadviga Gavlik Parker, recipient of a Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development. Kavana Raju, Certificate in Geographical Information Systems and Spatial Analysis. Ixchel Ramirez. Chloe Louise Mulreed Robinson. Grace Rogers, recipient of the AICP Outstanding Student Award, as well as the Anne Louise Strong Leadership Award. Ali Sarabaj. Xingyan Shi. Yu Shui. Chuan Su. Guangza Soon. Hazel Sun. Jasmine Sung. Henry Stephen Sivalak Herr. Jeffrey Seng, Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development. Jasmine Wallach. Andrea Wu. Hansen Xie, Certificate in Geographical Information Systems and Spatial Analysis. Zihong Yang, Certificate in Integrated Product Design. Chu Shi Yu. Qin Yuan Chloe Zhang. Chu Wen Zhang. Zihe Zhu. Joseph Aloysius Cahill IV. Yan Young Chen. And ladies and gentlemen, these are our candidates for Master of Urban Spatial Analytics. Xiaoqing Chen.
In between that transfer, it was a thank you to Megan and congratulations to the Master of City Planning graduates. And now here to present the rest of the Master of Urban Spatial Analytics degree is Associate Professor of City and Regional Planning, Elizabeth Delmau.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the little confusion. So yesterday, I ran into Megan Ryerson, and she said to me, "Did you hear? They cut our speaking time down to 1 minute." And then she quipped, "What can you say in 1 minute? A haiku?" So I now present 4 haikus for the 2026 Master of Urban Spatial Analytics graduates, which we call MUSA. What is this MUSA? Your parents would like to know. Data, cities, code. Meyerson basement. 8 a.m. Git won't commit. Can't let my team down. Claude code. Agent swarm. But wait, token credit's gone. My AI went rogue. Graduation time. What will you do now, pray tell? Go map the future. And now the graduates.
Xin Yuan Sui. Zimu Deng. Anna Duan, recipient of the Ken Stife Award. Zhe Feng. Ling Xuan Gao. Sujen Kakumanu. Yixuan Li. Jingqi Lu. Jennifer Meijun Lu. Joshua Rigsby. Angel Rutherford. Samuel Sen. Alexandra Stoffer. Tess Untu Vu. Zi Chung Shang. Jin Yang Shu. Fan Yang. Yu Qing Yang. Yu Su-han. Ji Yuan Zhao.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Congratulations to the MUSA graduates. And now to present the candidates for the Master of Architecture degree, please welcome Rosanna Hugh, Miller Professor and Chair of the Department of Architecture.
Good evening. I was also wondering what I can say in 1 minute. And so I timed all the chairs' speech, and no one did it in 1 minute. So I think I'm fine. I'm going to start with a short story. When I was an undergraduate, and this is in California, I took a class, Asian American Studies. A historian named Ronald Takaki told us something that I had never heard before, that Asian Americans were not guests in this country, that we had built it, that our history was American history, that we belonged. When you have spent a lifetime feeling like a guest in your home, being told you belong, backed by history and scholarship, is not a small thing. It is the ground shifting under your feet. Maybe you never felt at home here. Maybe you still feel like a stranger or a guest. But on this day before you leave, I want you to know you are not a guest. This is a home you have helped build. You belong, your family, and we will miss you dearly. And when you leave here, you might become homesick for Penn or for your hometown. Even if you're from right here, even if your home is here, one day you will come to know a certain longing you can't quite name. It's okay. That yearning for belonging is a powerful knowledge and a design tool. because we have spent generations designing for function, beauty, and prestige, but we have barely begun designing for belonging. The world and this country are fracturing. We heard it a while ago, over who belongs and who doesn't, who stays and who leaves. In that fracture, we need designers who don't just walk away. Let your homesickness make you more precise. Let your longing make you more generous. Let it drive you toward the people for whom no one has ever designed for, the displaced, the unhoused, the communities invisible to those with the pencils. Today, the pencils are in your hands. Congratulations, class of 2026, Master of Architecture.
Elizabeth Aldridge. Ricardo Alvarado, recipient of the Faculty Prize. Jonathan Bonezzi, certificate in time-based and interactive media, recipient of the Alpha Rho Chi Medal, the Cantor Tritch Prize in Energy and Architectural Innovation, honorable mention. Jack Henry Bradley, graduation with distinction. Mu Sao, graduation with distinction and recipient of the Arthur Spade Brooke Memorial Prize Silver Medal. Fasai Chanuvati, certificate in real estate design and development. Xin Chen, certificate in integrated product design. Ziyang Chen. Tyler Chu, recipient of the Faculty Prize. Colin Clark, graduation with distinction. Colby Cox. Laura Ellis. Camille Escobar. Sharare Faryadi, certificate in integrated product design. Jesus Frias. Yu Ze Gao. Shui Fei Guo. Hunter Goot. Yu Chen He. Zi Ming He. Elijah Huggins. Gyo-soon Huang, graduation with distinction. Meng Ji, graduation with distinction and recipient of the Arthur Spade Brooke Memorial Prize Gold Medal. Yi Loon Jin, certificate in time-based and interactive media. Chen Hao Kang, certificate in environmental building design. Ryan Lane, certificate in time-based and interactive media and recipient of the Alpha Rho Chi Medal. Annan Lian Lee, Certificate in Integrated Product Design. Dongsheng Li, recipient of the Paul Philippe Cret Medal. Jenny Lee. Shi Chi Lee. Shi Yan Lee. Yi Fei Lee. Junshi Liu, recipient of the Faculty Prize and the Cantor Tritch Prize in Energy and Architectural Innovation Prize. Keka Liu, Certificate in Integrated Product Design. Yiran Lu. Yufan Spika Liu, Certificate in Time-Based and Interactive Media. Ziqi Liu. Yuxuan Mik Ma. Veronica Moore, graduation with distinction. Catherine Orchard. David Ogenekewe Owe, Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development. Stefan Pelican. Xinwei Chiu, Certificate in Time-Based and Interactive Media. Spencer Relihan, graduation with distinction. Ju Hyun Shin, Certificate in Integrated Product Design. Jia Peng Soon, Certificate in Integrated Product Design. Darren Sun. Hong Xuan Wang. Wenyu Wang, Certificate in Integrated Product Design. Jesse E. Lin Shu. Pu Xin Yang, graduation with distinction. Ray Hua Young, graduation with distinction, Certificate in Integrated Product Design, and recipient of the Arthur Spade Brooke Memorial Prize Gold Medal. Jie Eta Yang, Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development. Spring Yu. Cece Zhang, graduation with distinction. Song Zhang, Certificate in Real Estate Design and Development. Tianbo Zhang. Ziqian Zhang. Yuhan Zhou. Zi Yu Ju.
Thank you, Rosanna, and congratulations, Master of Architecture graduates. Here to present the candidates for the Master of Science in Design, Advanced Architecture Design, is Professor of Architecture Ali Rahim.
Thank you, Dean Steiner. Graduates, families, friends, congratulations. AED asks one question: what does it mean to design architecture today? I want to tell you what I have come to believe about how this class has answered that question. In the first semester, you learned a concept called disjunctive continuity. It means that a building can resolve as architecture while the meetings inside it, the joints, the seams, the material returns remain distinguishable. Nothing dissolves. The differences stay legible. The buildings hold anyway. That is the concept. Now look at the room. This cohort, you came from Beijing, Mumbai, Mexico City, La Paz, Istanbul, Seoul, and New York. You came for professional degrees taught in different drawing conventions, different model cultures, different software, different theoretical inheritances. You arrived with very strong opinions, and you held them. Sometimes loudly, almost always over coffee, occasionally at 3 in the morning. You worked harder than any cohort I can remember, and you somehow remained throughout genuinely good company. That last part is rarer than the work ethic, and I want the families to know it. You did not melt those differences down. You did not pretend you had a shared starting point. You designed alongside each other while the seams remained visible and the work cohered anyway. That is disjunctive continuity in practice. You've already done the harder thing. What remains is the architecture itself. This summer, you enter the third semester, the built fragment. You will fabricate it one-to-one. You will discover the differences between what a drawing specifies and what a material permits. You will design something that holds itself up. So your degree is not yet finished. The work continues, and the position is already formed. You are now architects who designed under contemporary conditions with the digital, fabrication, and AI, and who design with their seams intact. That is what your training has been. That is the position you carry into practice. Travel well, design at the joint, hold yourselves up, go build. Thank your families, they earned this too. Congratulations, the class of 2026.
Chuanyang Bu. Jingwen Sai. Jiamu Sao. Chantal Sellis. Yi-Jun Chen. Allison Dana Cordova Borges. Justine Chewan Do. Meng Chi Gao. Mick Harley. He Shu Hung. Yi Chen He. Xiaofen Hu. Yukti Jain. Zhang Chen Yu. Yi Zhen Zhang. Prerita Gina Chandran. Min Woo Kang. Do Hyun Kim. Lee Xiaoya. Zishi Li. Xiaohan Liu. Yi-Chi Liu. Zexuan Liu. Ayatunde Alafonmi Ilayo Aduke Oladele Majeko Dumi. Alexander Malloy. Manuel Martinez Rodriguez. Xiaofeng Mo. Daphne Osdurson. Jinju Park. Christopher Owen Savaggio. Ritika Sivakumar. Da Chuan Wang. Jia Chi Wang. Li Hui Wang. Zihan Wang. Atreus Wu. Kahan Shu. Xu Zekai. Xiu Hui Yu. Dawson Zhang.
Thank you, Ali. Congratulations to the AAD grads. Here to present candidates for the Master of Science in Design, Environmental Building Design, and the Master of Environmental Design, or the Master in Environmental Building Design is Professor of Architecture, Bill Brom.
Thank you, Dean Steiner. I am here to congratulate the 2026 graduating class of the 1- and 2-year programs in Environmental Building Design, which we affectionately refer to as EBD. Graduates of the 1-year MEBD have just completed a highly structured curriculum that culminated in a bioclimactic design to studio. Graduates of the MSD EBD are the first class of the that's a 2-year program, are the first class to complete the new curriculum, in which they develop a single research project over the full year. Speaking for the faculty and the external reviewers, they exceeded all our expectations, developing innovative projects, building and testing physical prototypes, and refining their designs until they succeeded, which means they failed, but then they succeeded. I can say that these skills, including that persisting past failure, I can say that those skills will serve you wherever you end up. You may wonder, why are we all wearing these particular robes? It's hot out. Why am I wearing a woolen garb? Of course, these are part of our invoking of the origins of the university in the medieval centers of learning. One of the forgotten aspects of those earlier institutions was the practice that if a graduate was ever accused of a crime, they would be brought back to their universities to be judged. That's no longer the case, happily, We no longer have that responsibility. But I like to think that these robes represent a similar connection, a lifelong connection, the promise that you will always be part of Penn, that we will always be here to help, whether that is with advice, referrals, or letters of reference. You have mastered a unique set of skills in the EBD program, and they are in increasing demand as the urgency of climate change becomes apparent to more people. So we expect a lot of you. As you gain experience in the field, we hope you will share your new insights with us. The connection goes both ways, after all. Congratulations.
Sui Jia Tong. Xiao Yue Sui. Elliot Haddad. Graduation with distinction, recipient of the Donald Prowler Memorial Prize. Chin Ming Ho. Dian Yi Lin. Yu Jia Liu. Hanzhong Luo. Ilyas Musanif. Graduation with distinction. Navya Pandi. Certificate in Energy Management and Policy and recipient of the Musco-Martin Green Fellowship. Yi Jin Wang. Hong Wei, recipient of the Donald Prowler Memorial Prize. Yuan Qing Yu. Xu Han Zhao. Ridwan Arifin. Yi Ling Chen. Fei Yang Guo. Rei Jun He. An Win. Fan Xuan Wu.
Thank you, Bill, and congratulations to the MBD graduates. Here to present candidates for the Master of Science in Design, Robotics, and Autonomous Systems is Assistant Professor of Architecture, Robert Stewart Smith.
Graduates, family, and friends, it's with great pleasure that I present to you the Masters of Science in Design, Robotics, and Autonomous Systems degree students as conferred by the Faculty of Architecture. The degree explores robotic fabrication and AI-based technologies as integral contributors to architectural design and production. It aims to expand the agency of the architect to operate critically and creatively within the emerging Fourth Industrial Revolution and beyond. Graduates, in Douglas Adams' science fiction novel, A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the Earth was designed as a computer to answer the question about the meaning of the life, universe, and everything. When the ultimate answer came, it was 42. People realized they didn't know then what the actual right question was to ask. With rapid advances in AI technology lately, it seems sometimes we have the question and answer back to front. It's my hope that you ask the right questions and provide us with more useful answers to the needs and opportunities of today. We are so proud of you. In an intensive year, you have developed 3 novel designs that you demonstrated in large fabricated prototypes. You developed advanced AI workflows, including deep reinforcement learning for manufacturing. You learned how to program industrial robots in adaptive and responsive ways with sensor feedback. You made custom robot tools and innovated with several different material and manufacturing methods. You wrote exciting scientific research papers. You're all incredible people, equipped with the skills, knowledge, and experience to impact the future of the built environment and to make an amazing contribution to society. As we celebrate your achievements today, we also look forward to your future success. Everyone, please join me in congratulating the RAS class of 2026.
MD Rakibul Hassan, graduation with distinction. Xiao He, recipient of the MSD RAS Prize for Design and Robotic Fabrication. Ian E. Ming Huo, Jiwei Ning, Ren Xiaoya, Sarah Su, recipient of the MSD RAS Prize for Design and Robotic Fabrication. Zoe Ann Wall, graduation with distinction and a recipient of the MSD RAS Prize for Design and Robotic Fabrication. Matthew Wong, graduation with distinction and recipient of the MSD RAS Prize for Design and Robotic Fabrication. Thomas Wyburn, Fu Yao Zhang, Yue Zhou,
Thank you, Rob, and congratulations, RAS graduates. We now turn to our last group of graduates, the doctoral candidates. Ooh. Putting the PhD candidates for the candidates for the PhD in architecture is Franca Tribbiano, Associate Professor of Architecture and Chair of the Graduate Group in Architecture.
Thank you, Dean Steiner, speakers Saffron and De La Rosa, graduates, alums, families, friends, and faculty colleagues. And it's a great pleasure that I present to you the 2026 graduates of the MS Research in Architecture and the Doctor of Architecture. Tonight we have with us some very inspired and courageous now graduates. They're inspired and courageous because they set out a journey, a new journey in research. They also set out a second degree after their professional degree, but they also pivoted out of their design space and into the writing space, the space of text, the space of critical thinking, and the space of endeavoring to know ever more. So I will start with the MS Research in Architecture, which is a one-year post-professional program that develops, as I said, research and critical skills in preparation of a doctoral program should the graduate wish to do so in the future. This year, we're honored to award this degree to a thesis that was adventurous in its understanding of emergency housing for communities in peril using biogenic architecture. So with that, I introduce Miriam.
Mariam Kibaroglu.
The Doctor of Architecture degree represents the highest honor that's conferred by the University of Pennsylvania. It's administered by the faculty of the graduate group in architecture, and students in this PhD program pursue the most advanced research and scholarship in our discipline. Founded in 1964, we believe it to be the oldest in the country. We like to boast that no other doctoral program in architecture in the United States has the depth of the faculty expertise and the rigor of our students. Our community seeks excellence in all that it does, whether it's in its study of architectural technology, history, or theory. For example, our students will research how biomaterials modeled on nature can help us displace the use of fossil fuels in the building industry. They investigate how we might keep ourselves cool by designing alternative systems that deploy low-energy technologies during extreme heat, of which we will be requiring this forevermore. They also compute and digitally fabricate high-efficiency structural systems that help save our material resources. But our students may also research the role of colonialism in the built environment and how communities have been displaced and disadvantaged by building. They might reassert the importance of writing about women and minority architects who have been forgotten in the discipline's history, and they may even investigate how the environment itself can be a catalyst for advanced architectural theory. Now, for each student, the doctorate is, as I said, a pretty personal and sometimes lonely journey. They're certainly aided and supported by Penn faculty, by their colleagues and their friends, but in the end, it is they who must complete all of their coursework, take multiple exams, produce even fabrication projects, spend time alone in an archive, attend conferences, complete lab work, install exhibits, publish papers, teach, write their dissertation. I'm exhausted, and this has taken them years. This evening, we actually may have our 2 record students for having completed their dissertation in the fastest time ever. So congratulations to them. But it is a serious, years-long commitment to a singular project, and one that is defined, structured, and really executed by every single student. And for this, we really want to celebrate their accomplishments tonight. So Dean Steiner, I present you our 2 graduates. Actually, I'll name 5 of our graduates. Unfortunately, 3 of our students could not be here with us today, but I will read out their dissertation titles as well. So these are our Doctorate of Architecture graduates. So today, I'm going to begin by celebrating Dr. Sarah Alajmi. Her dissertation is titled Between Nomadism and Settlement, the Architectural Transformation of the Arabian Desert, 1940s to 1970, and her dissertation supervisor was Professor Fernando Lara. Dr. Alajmi is in Kuwait this evening. Dr. Elisheva Levy, her dissertation is titled Beyond Monogamous Architecture, Vertical and Horizontal Love Politics in the Soviet Kommunalka. I was her dissertation supervisor. Congratulations, Elisheva. And Dr. Ruit Yarnitsky, the title of her dissertation is Architecture in a Multi-Layered Land, Reconceptualizing the Israeli Modern Landscape, and her dissertation supervisor was Professor Emeritus David Leatherbarrow. To be able to cap 2 of our doctors tonight, and at this time I'd like to invite Professor Masoud Akbarzadeh, Dr. Chai's dissertation supervisor, to assist in the hooding ceremony. So I'll begin by introducing Dr. Hua Chai, whose dissertation is titled Computational Form Finding of Tension Integrated Spanning Structures with Polyhedral Graphic Statics. Dr. Chai's, woohoo! Stay. Hua, hua. Dr. Chai's dissertation develops a computational framework for the design of tension-integrated spanning structures. His research is primarily focused on integrating computational form-finding advanced materialization methodologies to create structurally efficient systems. With previous degrees from Shanghai Maritime University, Lawrence Technology University, and Columbia University, Dr. Chai is now a tenure-track assistant professor in architecture at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo in California. Congratulations, Dr. Chai. Our next doctor is Dr. Teng Teng. Teng? The title of his dissertation is Advanced Additive Manufacturing Across Material, Scale, Dimensions Towards High Performance Structure. Congratulations. Dr. Teng's dissertation investigates multi-material advanced additive manufacturing techniques and prototyping, otherwise known as digital printing. Dr. Teng's primary research interests reside in mechatronics, robotics, advanced manufacturing, and materials, and he's particularly interested in addressing fabrication issues for the design materialization of high-performance products. With previous degrees from Shanghai University, University of Washington, and Cornell University, Dr. Teng is now a tenure-track assistant professor in architecture at Lawrence Technology University in Michigan, where he teaches design studios and technology-focused courses. Congratulations, Dr. Teng.
Thank you, Franca. Congrats to our MS in Architecture and our PhD in Architecture graduates. And now here to hood the PhD in City and Regional Planning candidates is Jeannie Birch, the Lawrence C. Neusdorf Professor of Urban Research and Education and the co-director of the Penn Institute for Urban Research.
Greetings all. As you've heard, getting a PhD is no easy thing. And tonight, we're here to celebrate Jay Arzu. Don't be shy, Jay. Don't be shy. As you know, he is receiving his Doctor of Philosophy from the University of Pennsylvania. And the PhD is Academy's way of saying that this person has expanded what humanity knows. Jay's dissertation, The Roosevelt Boulevard Subway, A Century of Promise, Politics, and Persistence, 1913 to 2026, does something rarer still. It doesn't sit on a shelf. It moves the city. He took a project pronounced dead more than once and traced its 113-year history, the arc of politics, funding fights, and the persistence of an idea that refused to die. But he didn't just do that. He became part of the story. You may have seen him On television news, you may have seen him on Instagram and other social media. He became part of the story he was writing through engaging in town halls, op-eds, tireless advocacy that put the Boulevard subway back on the agenda of SEPTA, Penn, and the people of Northeast Philadelphia. A huge accomplishment. The dissertation ends in 2026, but this is not an accident. It is a promise. A century of waiting is enough. Eric Guerra, Associate Professor of City and Regional Planning, who was chair of his committee, will now place the hood on Jay's shoulders. The hood is the oldest symbol in academic regalia, passed from teacher to student across centuries, signifying that one scholar has prepared another to carry the work forward. Jay, New York raised you, Penn trained you, and Philadelphia is better because you chose it. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jeannie, Eric, congrats, Jay. Now I turn the podium over to Taylor Noak, President of the Penn Weitzman Alumni Association.
Thank you so much. So I wasn't given a timeline, so I prepared a 20-minute monologue, so I hope you're ready for that. No, I'm kidding. I quickly want to say I'm also celebrating, this is my 10-year reunion. I graduated in 2016, and I'm really happy to be back here. This is actually my 5th time on the stage giving the conference speech to you all, so I'm really excited about that, but I'm also stepping down from the president role this year, and so I just want to say thank you to you guys, because you've been a part of that 5 times with me, and they were with me through college and my experience here at Penn. So really exciting to move on to the next chapter as well. So with that, as the Penn Weitzman Alumni President, I'm here to extend a warm welcome to our 2026 graduates as the newest members of our alumni community. As we celebrate today, we are reminded that education is not simply about the accumulation of knowledge, but about the lifelong responsibility to shape places, systems, and communities that allow people to thrive. This morning, the Penn Weitzman Alumni Association gathered at FDR Park, showcasing our alumni from this university and all the amazing work that they are doing across the city, across the country, and across the globe. This park is offering a powerful example of how design, planning, ecology, and public leadership intersect to advance well-being, not only environmental well-being, but human well-being. The tour showcased projects from WRT Design here in Philadelphia that embody resilience and renewal. The award-winning Anna C. Verna Playground, the newly renovated Welcome Center, and the park's 33-acre wetland and bird sanctuary. These places do more than manage stormwater or restore habitat. They create opportunities for connection, recreation, and reflection. At a time when conversations about well-being are increasingly urgent, FDR Park stands as a living classroom for what holistic well-being can look like in practice. Well-being is not defined to personal health. It is deeply connected to the environments we inhabit. The accessibility of public space for all and the resilience of our ecosystems. Parks like FDR remind us that thoughtful design has the power to improve daily life, reduce inequities, and foster belonging, and that was done by Penn graduates. Each of you have developed a unique approach to solve today's challenges and resolve towards a brighter tomorrow. And just like the over 12,000 plus alumni before you, it is imperative that your success, your knowledge, your status as creative thinkers be leveraged to support and advance the Weitzman School and your personal endeavors now and into the future. We open our arms and invite you into the global community of Weitzman alum that strives to celebrate and recognize the diverse, collaborative, enduring spirit of the school, and most importantly, the people. It is a great honor to confer upon each of you the status of alumni to the University of Pennsylvania Stuart Weitzman School of Design. We encourage you to get involved, stay connected. Plans are already in works for next year's alumni weekend. We hope to see you there. Good luck and congratulations.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay, that's kind of it. Take a big breath, soak it all in, look at Irvine Auditorium, look at your faculty. We're closing. So, what do we do from here? How do we get out of this place? The faculty will recess first, and then the students, followed by the drum lines. Parents and guests, I hope to see you back in Meyerson Hall for the end of year show. So the faculty will leave, then the students, and if everyone else could follow the students, we'd appreciate that. And thank you for your patience as you wait for the graduates to exit. Crew, class of 2026, I do hope there's some contrarians among you, and you'll keep everybody on our toes in the future. Congratulations. We wish you all the very, very best.